In 1975, Elvis hadn't slept in 3 days. Doctors gave him pills, but they didn't work. At 4 a.m., sitting alone in his garden, his elderly neighbor found him. "Son, why won't you sleep?" the old man asked. Elvis's answer was chilling. "My dreams are killing me." What happened next involved a lullaby and the first real sleep Elvis had in months. It was June 1975, and Elvis Presley was dying, not from any single medical condition, but from the slow accumulation of everything: the pills, the pressure, the loneliness, and most of all, the inability to sleep. 3 days without sleep. 72 hours of consciousness, of being trapped inside his own mind with no escape. Elvis had tried everything. His doctors had prescribed sleeping pills, multiple kinds, increasing doses, but nothing worked. Or worse, when they did work, the dreams came. And the dreams were unbearable. Elvis would see his mother dying. Over and over, he'd watch Gladys deteriorate, watch her slip away, be unable to save her. He'd see his stillborn twin brother, Jesse, imagining the life they might have had together. He'd see himself on stage, but the audience would be gone, just empty seats and silence. He'd see his own death, his body failing, everyone he loved unable to help. So Elvis stopped trying to sleep. He'd take pills to stay awake instead. Anything to avoid the dreams. At 4:17 a.m. on June 19th, Elvis sat alone in Graceland's garden. His security detail knew he was there, but they kept their distance. Elvis needed space, needed air, needed something other than the walls of his bedroom closing in on him. He was exhausted beyond description. His body ached. His mind felt like static. But every time he closed his eyes, the dreams would start, even just the beginning of them, the feeling of slipping into nightmare, and his eyes would snap open again. Elvis sat on a bench near his mother's grave marker in the meditation garden he'd built. Gladys had been dead for 17 years, but Elvis still talked to her sometimes, especially on nights like this when he didn't know what else to do. "Mama," Elvis whispered into the darkness, "I'm so tired, but I can't sleep. I'm afraid of what I'll see if I close my eyes." "That's a heavy burden, son." Elvis jumped. The voice came from the shadows near the garden gate. An elderly man emerged into the dim garden lights, their neighbor, Mr. Thompson, who lived in the house just beyond Graceland's back property line. "Mr. Thompson, what are you doing out here?" The old man, probably in his 70s, walked slowly toward Elvis. "Can't sleep myself these days. Old bones don't rest easy. I saw you out here from my window. You've been sitting there for 2 hours now. I thought maybe you could use some company." Elvis gestured to the bench. "Be my guest." Mr. Thompson sat down with a soft groan. "Getting old isn't for the weak, I'll tell you that." He looked at Elvis in the dim light. "You look like hell, son, if you don't mind my saying." Elvis laughed bitterly. "I feel like it too. When's the last time you slept?" "Really slept? I don't know, maybe a month ago. 3 days since I've slept at all." Mr. Thompson frowned. "That'll kill you, you know. Body needs sleep like it needs air and water. Can't function without it." "I know, but I can't sleep. Every time I try, the dreams come. And the dreams are worse than staying awake." "What do you dream about?" Elvis hesitated. He'd never talked about this with anyone. His doctors knew about the insomnia, but not why. His friends knew he took pills, but not what he was running from. But something about the old man, maybe the late hour, maybe the exhaustion, maybe the fact that Mr. Thompson had no investment in Elvis Presley, the celebrity, made Elvis honest. "I dream about everyone I've lost," Elvis said quietly. "My mother, my twin brother who died at birth, my marriage, my youth, my purpose. I dream about failing, about dying, about being forgotten. I dream about the person I used to be, looking at the person I've become and being disgusted." Mr. Thompson nodded slowly. "Those aren't just dreams, son. Those are your fears taking shape when your conscious mind can't keep them at bay anymore." "I know. That's why I can't sleep. Because when I sleep, I have to face all the things I spend my waking hours running from." "But you can't run forever," Mr. Thompson said. "Eventually, your body will shut down whether you want it to or not, and then you'll dream anyway, except you won't have any control over it. Is that what you want?" "I want to not be afraid," Elvis said, his voice breaking. "I want to close my eyes and not see my mother dying. I want to not wake up screaming. I want to sleep like a normal person and wake up refreshed instead of terrified." Mr. Thompson was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, "Did your mama ever sing you to sleep when you were little?" The question caught Elvis off guard. Yes, all the time, especially when I was scared or couldn't settle down. What did she sing? Elvis closed his eyes, remembering. Lullabies, old songs from her childhood. Hush Little Baby was her favorite. She'd sing it over and over until I fell asleep. Even when we were so poor we didn't know where our next meal was coming from, she'd sing, and everything felt safe. That's what sleep should feel like, Mr. Thompson said. Safe. A place where you can let go because you know you're protected. You've lost that feeling. The dreams took it away from you. How do I get it back? Mr. Thompson stood up slowly. Come with me. I want to show you something. Elvis followed the old man across the garden to a spot near a large oak tree. Mr. Thompson gestured for Elvis to lie down on the grass. Right here? Elvis asked, confused. Right here, on the ground, under the tree, where you can feel the earth underneath you and see the sky above you. Elvis, too exhausted to argue, lay down on the cool grass. Mr. Thompson sat beside him, leaning against the tree trunk. Now close your eyes, Mr. Thompson said. I can't. The dreams, not yet. You're not ready yet. First, we're going to do what your mama used to do. We're going to make this space safe again. Mr. Thompson began to sing. His voice was old, weathered, not particularly good, but it was genuine. He sang, Hush Little Baby, the same lullaby Gladys had sung to Elvis 40 years earlier. Elvis felt tears rolling down his face. He hadn't heard that song since his mother died. Nobody had sung it to him since he was a child. And hearing it now, in the darkness, lying on the earth with an old man's voice carrying the melody. Something in Elvis broke open. My mama used to sing this, Elvis whispered. I know, son. You just told me. That's why I'm singing it now. You need to remember what it felt like when sleep was safe, when closing your eyes meant comfort, not fear. Mr. Thompson kept singing, moving through the verses, then starting again. Over and over, the simple melody, the familiar words. Elvis's body, exhausted beyond measure, began to relax. His breathing slowed. The tension in his shoulders eased. The dreams can't hurt you, Mr. Thompson said softly, still singing between words. They're just your mind processing pain. They're not real. Your mama isn't dying again. Your brother isn't suffering. You're not failing. These are just echoes of hurt. They can't kill you, but exhaustion will. Elvis felt himself drifting. The edge of sleep, which had been terrifying for weeks, suddenly felt less threatening. Mr. Thompson's voice was there, anchoring him, like his mother's voice used to. I'm scared, Elvis murmured. I know, but I'm right here, and I'll keep singing until you're fully asleep. And if the dreams come, you'll wake up and I'll still be here. You're not alone, son. That's what you've forgotten. You're not alone in this. Mr. Thompson continued singing. His voice blended with the night sounds, crickets, distant traffic, wind through the trees. Elvis felt himself slipping deeper into the space between waking and sleeping. For the first time in weeks, he didn't fight it. Elvis slept for 6 hours straight under that oak tree, with Mr. Thompson sitting beside him singing lullabies. When the dreams started, and they did, Mr. Thompson would sense Elvis's distress and sing louder, pulling him back from the nightmare's edge. When Elvis finally woke up, the sun was rising. Mr. Thompson was still there, looking tired but peaceful. You slept, the old man said simply. Elvis sat up slowly, disoriented. I did. I actually slept. How long? About 6 hours. You had a few bad moments, but we got through them. Elvis looked at Mr. Thompson with something like awe. You stayed the whole time? Of course I did. I told you I would. That's what makes sleep safe, knowing someone's watching over you. Elvis started crying. Not sad tears, grateful tears, relief tears. Doctors gave me pills, specialists gave me treatments, but nobody thought to just sing to me, to make me feel safe. That's because they're treating symptoms, not causes, Mr. Thompson said. The insomnia isn't the problem. The fear is. And you can't medicate fear away. You have to address it directly. Elvis helped Mr. Thompson stand up. Can I ask you something? Why did you do this? You could have just ignored me sitting in my garden. You didn't have to spend 6 hours singing lullabies to a stranger. You're not a stranger, Mr. Thompson said. You're my neighbor. And more importantly, you're someone in pain. I'm old, son. I've lived long enough to know that the greatest gift we can give each other is presence. Just being there. Just showing up. Just singing a lullaby when someone needs one. Elvis hugged the old man. "Thank you. I don't know how to repay you." "You already did," Mr. Thompson said. "You let me help. That's payment enough." For the next 2 years, until Elvis died in August 1977, Mr. Thompson became an unlikely ally in Elvis's battle with insomnia. On nights when Elvis couldn't sleep, when the dreams were too threatening, he'd go to the garden. And often, Mr. Thompson would be there, either because he couldn't sleep himself, or because he'd seen Elvis's bedroom light on and known his neighbor needed him. They didn't always talk. Sometimes Mr. Thompson would just sit with Elvis in the darkness. Sometimes he'd sing. Sometimes they'd share stories about their lives. Mr. Thompson's wife, who died 10 years earlier, Elvis's mother, the weight of loss. "You've become my unofficial therapist," Elvis told Mr. Thompson one night. The old man laughed. "I'm just a neighbor who can't sleep. But I've learned something in my 73 years. Healing doesn't always look like medicine. Sometimes it looks like company. Sometimes it looks like a lullaby. Sometimes it looks like sitting in a garden at 4 a.m. with someone who understands that darkness isn't as lonely when you share it." Elvis's insomnia never fully went away. The nightmares continued, but after that night in June 1975, Elvis at least had a tool for dealing with them: Mr. Thompson's lullabies, either in person or in memory. On particularly bad nights, Elvis would lie in bed and sing "Hush, Little Baby" to himself in Mr. Thompson's voice, remembering the feeling of sleeping under the oak tree with someone watching over him. After Elvis died, Mr. Thompson gave one interview. He was asked about his relationship with Elvis and whether he felt he'd helped. "Elvis Presley had every medical treatment money could buy," Mr. Thompson said, "but what he needed most was what we all need: to feel safe enough to rest, to know that someone cares enough to sit with us in our darkness, to be reminded of the simple comforts that make life bearable." He continued, "I didn't cure Elvis, I didn't solve his problems, but for 6 hours on a June night, I gave him the gift of sleep. And after that, I gave him the gift of knowing he didn't have to face his fears alone. That's all any of us can really do for each other." The story of Elvis and Mr. Thompson resonated deeply with people dealing with insomnia, anxiety, and sleep disorders. It became a touchstone for discussions about non-pharmaceutical approaches to sleep problems. "The medical model of sleep disorders focuses on chemistry and physiology," said sleep specialist Dr. Robert Chen. But Mr. Thompson understood something equally important. Sleep is also about safety and comfort. If your mind doesn't feel safe, your body won't rest, no matter how many pills you take. The story also highlighted something often overlooked about Elvis's final years: the loneliness. Despite being surrounded by people, Elvis often felt isolated in his struggles. Mr. Thompson's gift wasn't just the lullabies. It was the presence, the willingness to sit with someone in their darkest moments without judgment or solutions, just company. "Elvis spent his life being Elvis Presley for everyone else," said biographer Peter Goralnik. But with Mr. Thompson, he could just be a scared person who couldn't sleep. That permission to be vulnerable, to need help, to receive comfort, that was rare in Elvis's life. Today, sleep therapists sometimes reference the Thompson approach, the idea that creating a sense of safety and comfort is as important as medication in treating insomnia. Some hospitals have even implemented comfort presence programs where trained volunteers sit with patients struggling to sleep, providing the kind of calm companionship Mr. Thompson offered Elvis. Mr. Thompson died in 1982 at age 80. Before his death, he requested that his favorite song be played at his funeral, "Hush, Little Baby," the lullaby he'd sung to Elvis that June night. At the funeral, his grandson gave a eulogy that mentioned the night with Elvis. "My grandfather taught me that helping people doesn't always mean grand gestures. Sometimes it means showing up, staying present, singing a simple song. He did that for Elvis Presley, yes, but he did it for everyone in his life. He understood that we all need someone to watch over us while we sleep." The meditation garden at Graceland, where Elvis and Mr. Thompson had their conversation, remains one of the most visited spots on the estate. Many visitors don't know the story of the sleepless night and the lullaby, but those who do often leave notes or flowers near the oak tree, thanking both men, Elvis for his vulnerability, Mr. Thompson for his kindness. The story reminds us that sometimes the most sophisticated medical treatments can't provide what a simple act of human compassion can, that the deepest healing often comes from the simplest gestures. That presence matters more than expertise. Elvis Presley couldn't sleep because his dreams were killing him. Mr. Thompson didn't fix the dreams. He didn't make the fears disappear, but he made sleep safe again, just for one night, just long enough to remind Elvis's body what rest felt like. And sometimes that's enough. One night of sleep, one lullaby, one person who cares enough to stay. "My dreams are killing me," Elvis had said. "Then let's make new dreams," Mr. Thompson had replied. "Dreams where you're safe. Dreams where someone's watching over you. Dreams where you can rest." And for 6 hours under an oak tree, with an old man singing lullabies, Elvis found those dreams. Not forever. Not even for long. But long enough to remember that sleep doesn't have to be frightening. That rest is possible. That someone cares. And in a life as complicated and painful as Elvis's had become, those small moments of peace mattered more than any number of pills or treatments ever could. Sometimes the simplest things heal the deepest wounds. A neighbor who notices. A lullaby from childhood. 6 hours under a tree. That's all it took to give Elvis Presley, who had everything money could buy, the one thing he desperately needed: a night of safe sleep. If this story of insomnia, fear, and the healing power of simple kindness moved you, subscribe and share it. When did someone's presence help you through a dark time? Let us know in the comments. Hit that notification bell for more true stories about the small acts that make the biggest difference.